busy. Let me say good morning to our listeners, good morning to our viewers. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Tuesday, the 19th day of May. Yes, 2026. Good morning to those of you who are listening and viewing via our social media platforms. You know I always have to give you folks that shout out. Good morning to you. Drivers on Nations Road, I had to trip in on that this morning. Of course, please drive along with that due care and attention. Please do so. I saw someone, driving in a particular way this morning that disturbed me a whole lot. Please drive with that due care and attention. It's Opposition Tuesday on today's edition of To The Point. With me this morning, of course, we have Mr. Allie with us this morning.
Good morning. Good morning, brother.
Good morning to you, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Nice to have you back on today's edition. Everything is all right?
Everything as sherry as possible. I mean, I'm happy to be here this morning. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners out there. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and it's a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you on the program. I, of course, always do enjoy our conversations from time to time, discussing matters of interest, along the particular lines. And your take as a young politician coming up, how you feel about, of course, what's going on in the beautiful trial of ours, Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Good morning once again. Let's start the conversation off this morning. As someone who is connected closely to, the South of St. George, what are the main concerns you would say residents are bringing to the light right now? I'm assuming from time to time you do make your rounds around the constituency, stopping off in different areas and so forth. And there's that as we will say locally, that talk out there in terms of what individuals are feeling on a personal level. And speaking to you, what are those concerns that they bring into the fore for you? That is a constant beeping in your ear, some folks would say to you.
Man, there's a level of a sense of people are in survival mode. You know what I mean? Like, there's an angst that's underneath everybody's. People are watching what they're seeing on the news within the region, in the globe. They're seeing the prices that they are paying at the grocery store, the corner shop. They're seeing all their bills going up. They're seeing their kids have to go to secondary school or their kids are entering primary school or kindergarten. They're seeing the school fees are going up, and they're watching their bills continually going up, and a level of where are we heading? Can I keep affording where I'm staying right now? Do I need to go back home to mom and dad to kind of cut bills? People have a sense of frustration and anxiety due to a lack of direction of where the economy is headed right now. And that sense of angst is deeply underneath our society. People are not talking out loud. When I go into people's homes and talk to them personally, that's when you see that real conversation happens. Because when you're out on the street, people are afraid to talk what they really feel, because they figure they're just, you're talking to that NMP guy and but it's not that. A lot of people are bawling with their mouths closed. They're crying out, and they're doing it at home. And they can't tell their kids, can't put that anxiety on their children. So who do they go to? A lot of people we have a lot of poor, proud people. We know we struggle. We don't say we're hungry. There are many homes I go into, and a lot of people are vulnerable for food. Their kids are not have to eat. They have a case of ramen in their house, but very rice and the vegetables and the green foods that's needed for healthy growth of our communities is not there.
How do you respond to individuals with those concerns, knowing that the minimal that you could do at the stage as it's at right now? I mean, there's minimal you could do. What do you say to individuals when you're having those conversations with them?
Man, it hurts, because sometimes I wish I could do more. Sometimes very emotional, because I really hate to see kids suffer. And most times I have to reach out to corporate entities, and I have to say, we have some good corporate citizens and good people in our community who with the extra they have, they do volunteer. I have some friends in the diaspora who sometimes sends a barrel or two of food to help families and stuff within the community. So as much as I do say that we have some issues in terms of what the economic situation is like, I see a lot of hope too, where we have a community where people can sometimes reach out and people do help and try their best to help those in need. So with the good there, with all the difficulties, there's a lot of good things I see also.
You know, we hear that conversation from time to time. You hear it via social media. You probably hear it in street conversations. You probably hear it, but of course, by the roadside shops or roadside bars, you hear that conversation a lot. Where many Grenadians are saying, you know, they are working. They are working. I don't know, there are folks who are working and they are working hard. But they're still saying, you know, they're struggling, especially financially. Do you believe that the average citizen is benefiting from the current economy as it stands right now?
Well, when you say people say, oh, there's economic growth, right? But with economic growth, you have to ask yourself, is the growth being reproduced all across in the nation? Is that growth being felt by all in the nation? And is that quality of life being felt by Grenadians? And the answer is no, simply. Because what people feel is that as they're working harder and harder, but the lack of opportunities is not there to work. Even look at a situation with people who are using their personal vehicles to go and do ride share. Now, some people say I must have a H vehicle for that, but all around the world, Uber I go all about in the world is people doing private hustles. Why our economy is not creating an opportunity for people to create more entrepreneurism and more opportunities for people to hustle and find that kind of level of pride in themselves? Because people don't want handouts, you know. Our young people out there don't want handouts. They want opportunities. They want to fend for themselves. So we have to create an economic environment that supports that. And it's not felt all throughout our country. There are some people who are saying they're feeling it, and that is a very small number of people.
I hear you time to time, every time we have this conversation, you always say, you know, that what people is needing has not been offered in some way, in terms of, you know, the opportunities that should be available is not being offered. You know, you speak about in ways of you know, you talk about, you know, the growth that's been mentioned by the Rudin administration and so forth. You talk about that growth and how people are not feeling that growth as it is mentioned. It's not, as we in a simpler term say, that trickle down effect has not been felt for some reason. What would you say the reason why people are not feeling, especially when it comes to relief of their daily lives, in terms of these growth patterns that they speak of? And why do you think that there's such a disconnect from the growth that the government speak of and what people are feeling in their real lives? Why do you feel? Why is there that disconnect in between there?
Because people face the reality and government face a policy side of things. Government put in the policy and they hope that that policy would somehow create that economic environment. Now, they have to also continually monitor, update, and position the economy constantly to make sure that it's continually being felt by the people. That means you have to aggressively go to your people and constantly hear their complaints, hear where they're feeling that pressure, and know where to alleviate it in the economy. Now, that's the role of a government, to make sure that disconnect is not there. Now, that means you have to kind of change the way you come to your decision-making process. Do you make a decision and then apply it and then see the repercussions? Or do you go to the people, hear the problem, find a solution, and then create a policy that helps benefit the people? I believe in a bottom-up approach. I believe that to disappear that disconnect between the government and how the people feel, I think we need to start to ask more aggressively to our people, where are you hurting? How are you hurting? Is it just the bills in the grocery store? Is it just the fact that you feel that there's lack of economic expansion in the economy? Do you feel that there's more industries we should go after? Is there a situation where we need more mobility for our people? What are your bills? What is the highest cost of those bills? Is it energy? Is it water? These are the things we need to figure out in our community and directly address these things. So I do believe there is a great disconnect right now because people are bawling and they're not feel like their government is hearing them. They feel like they're not being heard. They're seeing so much expansion, so much change happening, and they see us being so reactionary and not proactive. So that disconnect is there, but my approach is to kind of go to the people. I am very I'm driven by solving problems, not by just listening and repeating what the problems are in society. So when I listen to people, I go back home and I contemplate it. I do research. I try to figure out what is happening in the world in this industry. What is good practices? What is bad practices? No, that is what we need from our leaders. We need leaders who take our problems, digest it, and what they come out with is solutions that help and benefit all. And that is what the kind of leadership I plan to do in my everyday process with the people, but also when I'm elected as a member of parliament for this constituency.
I want to ask you this, because I'm assuming these kind of conversations may come up from time to time, and I hope that in this question I'm going to ask, I wonder if it's a conversation that you are privy to, especially with the regular people and even business owners also, in reference to taxation. Do you believe that the regular Grenadian understand, that regular citizen out there, the folks who because we all do pay taxes, whether it's a VAT or you pay income tax or whatever. Do you think they understand taxation in the small countries? Do you think individuals understand it? And there's a reason why I'm asking you the question.
Yeah.
Do you think people understand it?
People understand the net result of it, what they left back in their pocket, because some person may not understand the implication of it in action, like when they say, oh, I'm putting a tax on this, a tax on that. They don't figure, okay, it sounds like $2-3 more, whatever, but that adds up.
Yeah.
So when you start to do your normal activities and then you realize, but wait, all I left back this month is $200-300. Like, I can't even go and make a line with the boys. If they call for a wrong, Capo smoke my pipe. I have to say, boys, next time. The reality is that some people may not understand it in the medium term or short term, but in the long term, people feel it in their daily lives, and that affects people's, they don't understand why they're working so hard and they can't see their way. They can't save. They can't, provide for a vacation for their kids and family because they're just constantly just paying bills and on the treadmill of life. And that is how I see it right now. Business
owners would say, sometimes they argue that, that people are being a bit overtaxed. While the economic opportunities are there, it remains limited, especially for average citizens. The opportunities are there. Do you share that same concern? Especially when you listen to the conversation from small business owners or even medium or outside business owners, if you do have those conversations within the constituency that you of course, you're privy to of course, being a pre-candidacy for.
The South St. George is filled with some of the most businesses, and both large corporate entities to small, medium enterprises, and to the mom and pop shop, to the barber man, to the man selling food onto the side of the road. We have the whole spectrum of businesses in the South. Yeah. So when I speak to people in the South, a lot of them are businessmen and hustlers. Yeah, men who drive bus, but they have a shop, and they have an apartment underneath their house. Everybody finds in the South, we're the hustle constituency. You know what I mean? Everybody comes to the South for economics, for improving their lives and the livelihoods of their families. So I speak to a lot of these individuals, and all of them seeing a lot of rising costs. They're seeing very thin margins already, and they're seeing inflationary situations where their suppliers have different cost arrangements. They're cutting out there from 60 days to 30 days payment because of certain shocks to their economy and their supply chain. There are people who, because of the global situation, they have supplies out on the sea and they can't get it in right now. So they have to kind of find new trade routes to bring in these same goods and equipment. And that comes with an added cost. And these costs have to go on to the consumer because they need profit margin to keep paying their employees and keep providing a service to the economy. So businesses are feeling the pinch. They're not just taking this on and they're saying, oh, this is coming out of our profit. A business sole purpose is to create profit and to provide growth year on year. And the economy is not able or equipped to provide that for business owners right now. A lot of business owners, especially if you go through the South, you have people who are there sitting all day with their spices and their goods, and they'll tell you it's not moving as much. They would sit down and they'll tell you they're walking up and down the beach trying to hustle, and people don't have that money anymore. People who would have a bar and an entertainment business, they're not seeing people come and spend that money as much as before. You have the person where a person would have a birthday party and say, let's go sandals for a day pass. You're not seeing that quick demand because people have more bills and higher utility costs facing them. So it has a very real effect on our economy and our business people within the country, because I have a friend who's a person who loves to throw parties, and he told me his last 2 parties bust. He kind of like trying to like take stock of that and recover.
Reevaluate what he's going to be doing now.
Yeah, because he trying to prepare for Carnival, but he has some suppliers he had to pay, he had things outstanding, and he's not sure if he's going to do anything. That's a loss to our economy. So these are the things that are facing our everyday businessmen, and it's not good. We need to provide an environment where our businessmen feel that it is appropriate to take a risk and being able to feel that the government supports their risk taking. Right. And just like any country in the world, we have to support our private sector.
Okay. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio, GBN TV. We coming right back. Don't touch it out.
At 5 p.m. on August 5th, 1944, the schooner Island Queen sailed out of the St. George's Harbor. On board were some of Grenada's brightest and best sons and daughters. What happened afterwards remains a mystery.
Where Island Queen gone?
Heritage Theatre Company presents Lucy's Straw Hat, a full-length drama written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, a moving story about a family caught up in the drama of this great mystery. Meet Mammy Sylvie, a woman with a secret too heavy to keep but too painful to reveal.
I'm asking for forgiveness for not telling you the truth.
Pa John, the war veteran.
Sometimes I sit here feeling so helpless, so crushed.
Hyacinth, always ready to do mischief.
You don't see the woman Uncle Norris married? She face ugly enough to turn milk.
Lucy, beautiful and headstrong.
I had a dream, Mommy, but Hyacinth was there, holding my hand.
Lucy's Straw Hat at Grenada Trade Center on Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th June, and at Deluxe Cinema on Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st June. All shows 7 p.m. Advance tickets $60, $75 at the door. Come join us.
Where Island Queen gone?
Attention Grenada. Are you tired of those high electricity bills? Well, listen out. Classic Lighting Caribbean is bringing you a deal of a lifetime. Imagine powering your fridge, washing machine, TVs, internet, iron, and all the lights in your home with solar energy. If your home uses 5 kilowatts or less monthly, you can say goodbye to high electricity bills with a powerful 6.2 kilowatt all-in-one solar system for an unbelievable price of only $15,000. Yes, only EC $15,000. While stocks last, catch this massive solar sale happening May the 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Grenada Trade Center. Save money, power your home, and invest in your future with Classic Lighting Caribbean. Classic Lighting Caribbean, power in Grenada, Carriacou, and the Petit Martinique. The smart way.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. And welcome back, Mr. Allie with us this morning, here representing the New National Party's Opposition Tuesday. And he's, of course, the pre-candidate for the South, St. George. So, Allie, welcome back. I want to ask you this. You know, young people across Grenada, you know, we often hear them speak about frustration. For some reason, they're frustrated, uncertainty, lack of opportunities. What conversation are you having, especially with those young people, especially within the constituency that you plan on representing? What is those conversations with young people? We talk about the business, we talk about regular citizens, but the young people plays a vital role also, you know, in how this country moves forward today, and they going through a level of uncertainty. It's crucial. What are those conversations you having with those young people?
My brother, I'm hearing certain conversations of some. There's a level of shock because they're all dealing with their own stuff. A lot of it is a little hopelessness. Some are talking about migration. The ones who have that opportunity to migrate, they're thinking of opportunities like moving to the US or other countries.
And that is turning out to be a problem?
Yep. I've lost 2-3 friends of mine good tourism professionals who left to move to other countries within the last couple months. Because what I see from young people is not just economical, it's psychological to emotional. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of trauma. I've spoken to some young men, and what I see, like from the conversations, a lot of people have so much they're dealing with in their personal lives, and they're trying to operate also in this environment. So they're home, they're in a proper circumstance of where to live. They're not getting 8 hours a night's rest. They all have social environment issues that lead them to be on the street, or they may not be able to have a situation where they have an environment where it's safe for them. All these things are happening to young people. A lot of people, they have parents who have kids with disabilities, and they are working and they have no way to bring their kids so that their kids could find a level of socialization and all these things. So there's a burden on those parents too, in how their kids with disabilities feels like they're cut out of society and not level of being included within the society also. So there's a lot of things that are happening to young people, and it's happening so fast because they're also seeing an environment where the world is changing so fast technologically and economically, and the dynamics are changing, and they're not seeing the type of reactions that or proactive moves a government should be making to take advantage of these opportunities.
Tell me, with those conversations that you're having with those young people, and as I mentioned, is it these situations that they're going through, is it on their own accord? Or is it because of that lack of opportunity, as I asked, the uncertainty that's available within the economy and stuff like that? Or is it that these individuals just decide, hey, I don't want to work, I don't want this, I don't want that? Or is it because, well, I prefer to be an auto mechanic, but the opportunities to become auto mechanic is not there for me? Or before, or the certification that I need, I can't get to do it because maybe of my past level of education. Some folks may not have that theoretical part of education, but on a practical level, they can do what they can do and do it well. Are those the kind of conversation you're hearing from youngsters?
A lot of I meet so much different youngsters are fishermen who are mechanics, construction men, and there are men who just don't want to do anything. They rather just sit on the block and chill, But when I talk to those men too, the reason they're on the block sitting in because they have some serious psychological and other things of deep anxiety, depression. It's not because they sit on the block because they're just idle, A lot of people have certain mental makeups that makes them different and approach problems different. And our society is not that wide variety, and we don't even have that support for pharmaceuticals to even help them with that. If people who have certain mental disorders don't have the right support systems to make sure they have a functioning life. All these things are there, and there are things that we have a system where the economy is not built for the new young entrepreneurs. I see so much young kids right now who are on the digital economy. They're creating memes, they're creating short skits, they're creating advertisements. You see them on Instagram, and these young guys, they're coming out of school and they want to become social media stars. We just had iShow Speed come into the country. This is a young man who's a multi-millionaire. Probably his stream will be worth billions soon. And he did that from the format of his bedroom on a mic, just reviewing games and playing games and are we providing that kind of economy for our youngsters? Are we creating a type of financial environment where we encourage these type of businesses? Are we creating the type of entrepreneurship environment where we're taking kids and directing them in the type of economies that are growing? Our system is a bit old. Are we not creating the platform for other young people to succeed in ways that we haven't succeeded? And I'll be honest, I came from a traditional educational system in Grenada. I got degrees, and I don't think the system where it is, my degrees are somewhat worthless. Because of AI, anybody who could just prompt AI can sound smart right now, can create reports, can create so much business plans right now without any sort of degrees. So you don't need that level of theoretical understanding to do jobs anymore. What you do need is the level of desire, passion, and focus to get there. And we need to encourage that in our young people. We need to build that fire. We need to show them that we believe in their dreams, and that dreams may not look like what we are accustomed to, but it would be what they see as a future. And we need to create certain environments where, like, you have speaking out loud here, we could have like a Youth Excellence Day where we create bringing speakers from all over the world in new industries and try to like open up the minds of our young people more, create different art expos to show people there's so much value in art right now, not just music art, but like to create like actual painting and sculptures.
Bit of a real world opportunity. Because right now the world is shifting from people with all these degrees on the wall to people who actually have skills. So having emotional intelligence, being able to like solve problems on the fly, being able to like handle frustration and anxiety, and being able to move forward. These are the type of real life skills we need to equip our young people with now, because emotional intelligence and skills will be the new gold economy for our young people right now. And that is what we need to start pushing. You know, critics sometimes, from time to time, you hear those conversations from critics, they say, politicians focus too much on speeches and not enough, on that practical solution.
Yeah.
We always hear the talk.
Yeah.
You always hear the talk, and the practical solutions for the talk themselves, or that speech that they gave. We don't see that practical solution, being exhibited much. How would you approach, or represent differently or differ to that? From your personal point of view, the speeches, you see a lot of stuff here this morning, but let's hear that. How would you approach it in that practical way?
I personally don't think I'm like all like the speech guy. I'm not like a person who just goes out and I'm like, I am a solution-driven person, right? Some people say, I find you very quiet and thing. I'm a little on the slightly introverted style, but because I'm a person who thinks deeply, I process things a little differently from some people. So like when I go to my community and I hear problems and I go back home and I take this on. I try to figure out how we can take these problems and create solutions. So I do research, I do deep level of engaging other stakeholders, sometimes my parents, sometimes other individuals in sectors, and ask them, how has this happened before? And can this work now? And I am a person who just don't believe in speaking and like bamboozling my people. I'm a member of this community. I'm a young Grenadian. I have friends in the community that are striving and trying to build this community also. I want to create an environment where all of us succeed. So I don't want to just talk hot air. I want to be able to stand in my community proud to know that these ideas can bring real life solutions for people. I want to see that the things we put into policy and action and investment has a real life benefit for the people. So when I go and I hear what my community says and they feel about what's happening right now, I go into a process of finding out how my team and I could find out how we can make a practical solution to people's everyday needs. So I'm all about low-hanging fruit. I'm all about trying to find realistic positions where we as a government in waiting can tackle immediately to create that type of immediate effect for citizens, so they can feel that the government is proactively trying to ensure that they have the environment that they can succeed, their children can succeed, and an environment where their grandchildren can succeed.
You mentioned a while ago, in one of your recent response a while ago, that emotional and social strains are affecting communities. We spoke about that. How serious do you believe that issue is becoming in Grenada? That social strain and and emotional and strains and so forth.
I just want to say right now, we have a quiet crisis with young men.
Yeah.
I am proud of the advancement women have made in business and in the women. We have a society, not like many countries, where we have a lot of women who have equal pay, mobility in any positions. Most of our CEOs are women. We have a lovely environment, but I'm seeing something happening to a young man right now that affects me deeply, as I am a young man, and I could have dealt with the problems I face as a young man because of the structures in my life. I had a very strong father who, despite my many meandering, he always kind of bucked me up. I had mentors in my life. I had friends and it created an environment where I felt supported, and when I fall, I stumbled. But a lot of young men don't have that. And a lot of young men feel disenfranchised. They feel a lack of acceptance in the society right now. Things are changing socially and culturally. You have young men who cannot speak to a girl face to face because they do it so much over WhatsApp and DMs on Instagram that they lack the social skills. Like, I remember going through secondary school. You're firing for how much girls you're waiting down on long step, waiting for a convert girl, and you're fine-tuning your lyrics because you're just hitting and missing sometimes. But that helped create a courageous kind of spirit in a young man, being able to, but now in society we have to address different situations. Yeah. And I think that we have a level of toxicity in some areas in our society in young men. We have to retrain our young men in how we speak to women. How that, when a woman walks down the road, catcalling is not a thing that you should engage in. You should not just look at a woman physically and make her feel uncomfortable in areas that you are in. You should not ever try to physically impose your will on women, but also you should be around men who encourage that, men who show you how to build in life and support a family. We need to create a strong mentorship program in Grenada where strong men in our society try to volunteer to spend time with men who lack that level of structure in their lives and try to encourage them. We need to create these environments that help pull up all members of our society. And I'm not a little worried, I'm a lot worried because if we don't make these changes now, we're creating a level of older men who is going to impart the same level of toxicity back to the younger generation. So we have to kind of stem it off, talk about it openly, create it from a taboo subject. we just chastise young men just on the block smoking weed and doing things, but they're not doing nothing for themselves. No, we need to find a way to engage and figure out how we can get these men back as productive citizens in our country, how we can help our young men see that we can not be the men that build a Grenada that is stronger for our next generation. And that is what I'm trying to push. I want to be someone who does not talk. I have some young friends of mine who we talk to all the time on business and social and personal matters. And I think it's good to start all the time right now. If you see a young man who you see some potential in, take him under your wing, give him some words of encouragement and so forth.
In communities where you see, especially within your constituency, we see a lot of young people within the community seems to be falling apart for various reasons. And recently speaking to another political individual, they say bringing back of community groups may help that. I was of the opinion that times has changed.
Yeah.
And it's not that it may not work, but because of the distractions in the world today, from the gadgets and the other things that would not allow folks to want to be or come out and be part of a football group and or choir within the community and stuff like that. Do you believe, from your personal view, that re-emergence of community groups could make a difference? Or do you think that there should be a totally different approach now?
I think all approaches need to be modernized.
Yeah.
I don't think what we're accustomed doing should be what we rest our laurels on. We need to modernize the structures that exist to focus on a new generation that exists. Not all kids are sport kids and can play football and basketball. Here come some kids who have ADHD and other things who are stellar in online gaming and other things like that. Their brain works differently and they're better at certain things. So we need to create a multifaceted approach.
Yeah.
And it should be I believe community centers should be areas where men and young women should find ways to upskill and have training and courses and things to help them in that manner. And you have areas where they can play tennis and play basketball and paddleboard and, have sport recreation, but also quiet reading areas and parks where kids can just go and walk and watch nature and look at birds and sit down and read or do yoga. And we have to create a society that pulls in everybody. And I do believe that we're equipped with that, and I think I am a young person. I'm trying to bring that into my politics, whereas I'm constantly thinking about these things.
Let's move on a lighter note for a little bit. We're expecting Spice Mass 2026 is approaching sooner or later. Do you believe the economy is moving in that direction, or a business per se is getting that drive of a bumper carnival for 2026? Or what's your take on what is the direction you're looking at it?
I see it from I've been looking at it, I've been talking to people. Personally, I kind of asked my parents to move out to Carriacou for the week and I'm gonna rent a house and make a 25,000 US and I'll bring them in for 5, But I tell them, I was like, yo, go up Carriacou for a weekend, because I've seen 1 bedrooms rented in St. David's for 10,000 US on Airbnb.
Really?
You know what I mean? It is situated to be a banner year for Carnival in Grenada, right? But I'm seeing a situation where locals like myself are priced out. I don't have a ticket for Carnival right now. Every fete that even local promoters have, I have not got an opportunity to purchase a ticket because it was sold out within an hour or 2 online. I'm looking at everything has gone up and everything is quoted in US, and I'm making income in EC. And that is tough, being a candidate of South George and still being able to afford all them ticket prices in US. So I'm looking at all that as well, and I'm looking at the situation where we, as someone who is focused on also being government, what is the government doing to help or even grow that situation more? Now, I am a firm believer that our soca sells our carnival.
Yeah.
So I would love to see what are we doing to help and better promote our soca artists in a more formal matter. Are we helping new soca artists come online? Do we have a national development studio? Do we have a creative industry? Do we have a national studio where young artists who are from secondary school or younger or older can come in and get free studio time and get them professional level quality to their music? Are we doing that type of investment for our soca artists and our culture? Now, we have a situation with high airline prices. I have family in the US who tell me, boy, I ain't coming to Grenada this year because I'm looking at them tickets and it look like costing me 6,000 US for that 2 weeks. They can't afford that. So they're telling me, and they used to stay in Radisson and stuff. They say, boy, them prices book out. Radisson book out. Everything book out. I tell them, well, my couch book out too, so I can't help you there. But the reality is that what are we doing to expand the economy when we have such a banner year? I did some research. Why haven't we thought about bringing in 2 Carnival cruise boats and docking them out on the Carnage, not on the Carnage, the cruise terminal, and provide close to about 5,000 rooms extra in our economy? That's
just for that season only.
Just for that season, just for that 2 weeks. Then you can go to the airline operators and say, put on 3-4 more flights daily, because now we have rooms that can accommodate. You can go to the promoters and say, bro, I have so much event space on this Carnival cruise boat. You can put on 4 more events. And I would even consider, just for that week or 2, we have a a different tax rate, or we create an environment where we help your business grow. Because all promoters see is the government coming for them in taxation, but they're not seeing what they're doing to help them survive. Because there's international promoters come in and take advantage of Grenada's economy. There's promoters out of Trinidad and Lucia and internationally come in and do parties here. And that money is going back outside. So what are you doing to help the local businessmen survive in this economy? You're supposed to go into all local promoters and tell them, I'm creating an environment so you can do more parties and more ways of making income, and I'm providing a larger service. What are you going to promoters and telling them, I need you to create an allotment of tickets just for locals and priced in EC, and in exchange we can work something out on tax or streamline something on the port so you don't pay so much and all the stuff you bring in terms of cups and paraphernalia, so that you have a lower cost of goods for your event. Yeah. So that allows you to have a better profitability, because we still taxing them on VAT also, so their profit being affected. So there's so much things we can do to help expand and grow our carnival and have a greater effect for citizens. And I'm not seeing that investment being done. And that is my worry. I think carnival has great potential and should be considered on how much more we can grow the economy and how much more economic benefits you can give citizens.
Well, to give the benefit of doubt to authorities, I hope they're having those conversations.
I really hope they do.
They're having those conversations, and some of the thought patterns that you have came up with this one, I certainly hope that the folks who are in part of the decision making are thinking along those lines.
Well, if they're not thinking about it,
it could be beneficial. It could be beneficial for Grenada. Let's take a break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
People of Grenada. My name is Yadiris Echenique Paz, Ambassador of Cuba. It is a pleasure to extend an invitation to join us at the GBN Maggie King Grill Festival. Cuba is very proud of its rich culinary heritage, flavors that tell the story of our traditions and our culture. At this festival, we will share with you the taste of Cuban cuisine. We're looking forward to joining Grenada in this vibrant national event, where friendship and cultural exchange are expressed through the universal language of food. See you soon at the GBN Maggie King of the Grill. Looking forward to see you.
Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A-game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Maggie King of the Grill is powered by Maggie, enhancing your flavors. Rubis, Blue Bubbles Tenton Rentals, Grenada Paper Products, Grenville Credit Union, Flow, Budget Foods, My Finance Grenada, Carib Breweries, Ride Go Grenada, Glen Spring Water, and Grenada Bottling Company Limited. Maggie King of the Grill and Food Festival, where flavor meets fire.
Grenada, get ready for the grand finale of the athletic season. The Whitsuntide Games 2026 take over the Kirani James Athletic Stadium on Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th May from 9 a.m. daily. Witness 2 days of electrifying track and field action as top athletes from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, St. Lucia, Guyana, and more go head to head with Grenada's finest. Speed, strength, and regional rivalry once more, all in one place. Admission, finish line, $30. Main stand, $20. VIP, $150 for 1 day and $200 for 2 days. Don't miss the final local athletic meet of the season. Be there for the Whitsuntide Games 2026 as the season ends with a bang.
Looking Looking for the perfect pre-carnival fete? Then get ready for Rhythm and Spice, a Rotary brunch experience happening Sunday, June 28th from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Quarantine Point Recreational Park. Enjoy an afternoon of bold flavors, vibrant rhythms, and unforgettable vibes featuring Sakina and the Alpha One Band, plus guest artists and DJs. Early bird tickets are just $200 and available now on GoToFet.com. Dress code Brunch Chic, Island Elegance with Spice-inspired tones. Hosted by the Rotary Club of Grenada. Proceeds support Rotary Community Projects. Rhythm and Spice, Sunday, June 28th, Quarantine Point Recreational Park. Sip, savor, socialize, support.
Welcome back to our listeners. We in the, of course, the segment of the show that's going to get us to the top of the hour. Of course, to our listeners and viewers, the lines are open. You can pop in the midst of our conversation this morning if you do have a question or two from Mr. Allie on our program this morning. I want to ask you this, even as today, if the calls will come in, we certainly will entertain them also. Mm-hmm. Some people feel that the country is becoming more divided politically. I want to hear it from your point of view, sir. How do you believe leaders should engage citizens, during difficult economic times? From your perspective, how do you foresee that?
I don't think we should run away from it. I think if it's hard times, good times, whatever times, we need to stay with our people and be able to communicate to them the ideas, or be able to tell them the situation as is, so that they can themselves make preparations in their personal situations. So I believe in political division, I have friends and I have family that are supportive of the other party. Yeah. And I have friends and family who support my party. I don't believe in being around conversation where it's just only people that agree with me. I believe we should listen to all types of people. We should engage people and not dehumanize people for having different opinions from us. I view all Grenadians as equal to me. So I would love to hear from everybody, whether they agree or not disagree, because sometimes when someone disagrees with you, you can learn a lot from your own when you can hear how people disagree. Yeah. And I want to engage all Grenadians, both who support and both who don't support, and see how we can work together and see how we can form the basis of a country that supports all and supports everybody. So that's really what I want to push.
Great. We do have a caller online. Let's take our first caller in this segment. Caller live via WhatsApp. Let's hear from you. Good morning.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you, sir.
Mr. Allie.
Good morning.
Mr. Allie, the last thing you answered from GT, a question about talking bad about people, basically. All right. So do you think that calling...
I don't think we had a question relating to talking bad about people, Carl. I don't think we had anything relating to that, but go right ahead.
But he mentioned dehumanizing people. That's why I'm going back on. This is what I'm going back on. So I'm saying that calling the Prime Minister a con man by your chairman of your party, do you think is not part of the same thing you just condemned a while ago? And my question basically to you now, okay, Mr. Allie, I'm listening to you. You're somebody who I like. I think you have a lot to offer. But to me, why that message in your meeting, the several meetings that I listen to you guys, why this is not the message, but having the same chairman trying to let you guys know for you guys to win the election, because I was just listening to his tape where you were saying that you have to say that Dickon is a con man. Do you think that message really resonating with voters, with young voters, older voters who are looking to choose a party? And then my last question to you, okay, this weekend in the diaspora, we had bumper events with the National Democratic Party. The Prime Minister was here. We also had awards ceremony. They also had the indulgence in the night, the Saturday night, and also the Sunday there was a town hall meeting which was rampacked. They had to turn people away from the diaspora. because the auditorium couldn't hold people. Mr. Diali, when you're seeing all these movements happening with the NDC, the turnout and everything, because I've been to a lot of meetings that you guys have, and I never see the turnout. There's very few people you could have said, you could have checked them by your fingers. What does that tell you about the people from the diaspora? And with the diaspora coming back again, what did that say to your party?
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you, Williams. You want to respond in any way to the call?
I only could speak for what I put out there, and I always tried to treat all my Grenadian people the same, and I don't believe in dehumanizing people. I don't think the chairman of my party is someone who dehumanizes. I think Doc criticizes people, but I don't think he dehumanizes anyone. And personally, in terms of diaspora, I was with the diaspora this weekend, and I agree, but I think I wasn't invited to none of these town halls and things, so I'm not sure what it was there. I'm not sure the situation there, and I'm glad they had a good turnout, and I'm happy for them as well. But I think for my party, we feel very encouraged and we feel very excited about what's happening, because what you may see as an optical illusion may not be the reality.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning, GT.
Good morning to you, sir.
GT, posturing and reality are something total different. It is different. Now, I heard the gentleman. We can tell that he is educated. But at the same time, there is something called systemic avoidance of reality. It seems to me that he's expressing that, because you will hear again and again, here's the reason why, under the leadership of Deacon Mitchell, that's why they have the creatives. The whole process behind all these things and doing all the things for the youth and the advancement of Grenada, futuration, getting in contact with the diaspora, try to make sure that every household have education, is to venture into all those fields. So eventually Grenada will be a model. Now, what I discover is, if the underpinnings of the gentleman political party, they never had that vision for executing what is taking place right now under the leadership of Deacon Mitchell. Because, for example, we all know what the creatives can do. And I'm hearing the gentleman saying certain things which is already in process or already happening. It don't happen overnight. But I'm hearing him regurgitating or in the same mental frame as his predecessors, which tells me that there is some void or some lack of connection with the generation now, or the way he sees it to what is taking place now. So that's why I use the terminology, right? Avoidance of reality. And that is what is happening. We have to face the reality as to what is happening. We don't expect things to happen overnight. So let's face reality and see what is happening right now. The government is moving forward with the new technology, trying to make everybody technologically advanced and fade. That's why they're having the different courses, and that's why they're looking out for everybody, every Grenadian. Have yourself a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any way you want to respond to anything?
Love to respond to that caller. First of all, I stand on the backs of giants in my party. What the National Party has done for this country goes unmatched by any other. What we has left this country when we left office, over $500 million in reserves. We're now in a deficit budget of over $300 million. We have left a country that was growing at an economic rate of 7.3% year on year for over 7 years, while under the administration of the New National Party. So first and foremost, let me just say, the New National Party has always been the strongest and most stable in terms of guiding our economic advancements. The New Democratic Congress, National Democratic Congress, are just trying to continue most of the stuff we left them there with. Now let's start there. And even talk about the economic reality, I would say one thing. name one statistic that's come out from this government saying the growth from instituting the creative industry. What have they done in terms of statistics for those people? How much young people have gone into creative industries? Have their companies all grown to reach a point where they're over the tax threshold? What are the tax benefits of these industries doing to our country? What have it equaled in terms of our growth? Since you care about young people in the creative industries, have you ever thought about how that new tax on digital services is affecting people who are building websites and have paying most of these services from third-party operators in the US? Or the person who's buying their stuff on Alibaba or Shein or all these things to equip their stores and make their little hustles, they are now taxed even higher. Or you're not thinking about how we are now no longer looking at cable and we're mostly on Netflix and Hulu and these things, and that cost is increasing for young people. So when you talk about economic realities and systemic realities, let's talk the facts. The facts are NMP has always been the party that has been strong on the economy and continues to always deliver for the people. And when you see right now from this administration, it's a lot of talk and bluster, but you're not seeing the type of proactive tooling of the economy for facing a strong economic win.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. Via WhatsApp.
Jay, good morning, brother.
Good morning to you, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Mr. Allie, I never met you before. I never seen you. But
I guess you've seen him via the television now, not so?
Yeah, I seen him on the TV, but I don't really know him. He's from the South. I never seen him before. I never met him. But listen to him talk, I realize that he have a futuristic mind. To me, that he see things my way, and I like that. But to the first caller, election is not won by the diaspora. Election is won by the local man on the street. Now, when a mother or father open the fridge in the morning time, and they can't see cheese, they can't see butter, they can't get bread, they can't get milk to get the kids in the morning time, that's how election is won. If the government in the office providing that for the people so they can get to eat, they vote for the government. That's happening. So investing money in the diaspora to get votes. You don't see something wrong with that? If the government focus on the people here and provide opportunities for them here, you think they don't have to go to the diaspora and spend all this money and try to bring people back here to vote. The simplest thing to do is focus on people here, spending money here, investing in your people here. Yes, we need the diaspora. But we're not going to waste time over there like that. Waste the time here. And you go see a better Grenada, and you might see NSC doing better. I hope NSC take that advice. Because people here are getting angry because they realize their life is hard here. And you're all in the diaspora spree and everybody having fun drinking wine. Come on, brother. Focus on people here. And Mr. Dali, the question I want to ask is that Granon's Beach and the other beaches around there, they are too dark. I mean, yes, but Andy put some lights there and, it's solar lights. And to me, they're not too bright. So we need some brighter lights on the beach, certain places, because people need to go on the beach at night sometime too. We want to read a book, relax. We're not going to have sex on the beach. We need to go on the beach and relax and be safe. Our parks need to be lit up with bright lights so we can go in the parks and relax at night also too. So I hope that if you win or when you win, you look into that. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Anything you want to feedback on?
I agree with the lights, but I would also like to throw that out there that I think some of those lights should be in certain areas should be red lights to allow leather. I just saw a picture of a leatherback turtle coming up on Granon's Beach not so long ago. That is things that we should encourage so that they're not too bright, so we allow nesting turtles to still come and have that migration process. So I do believe we should have an environmental with the economical. I do believe that we have a lot of dark areas in the south and we need to light up. Just behind the police station on that side, we need to create more lights and areas where tourists and citizens alike feel more safe in the community. So I do agree with that.
All right, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings. How are you?
Doing good, sir.
I'm happy to hear that. And good morning, Mr. Allie.
Good morning, Citizen Rolo.
No, my name is John Rolo. Listen, let's go to the meat of the matter. I sit here, young man, and I listen to you. I feel good hearing some of the things you saying. It seems that you're well orientated, but we have a problem, Mr. Allie. I'm not hearing how you intend to get what you're suggesting that we do, how you intend to get it done. The fact is established that nothing in this country over the past 54 years, with 52 years, which have been attempted, has been able to be accomplished. We haven't. And it's simple why, which most of those that have taken the political field refuse to admit. The foundation of the country. But you know what I mean by that? In other words, you cannot build a house from a window up. You cannot build anything that is expected to put weight on top, on placid ground, unstable ground. Our foundation is unstable. But there's something particular that you mentioned. Getting the young men and women of the country, the people of the country in the communities together. Now the question is, how do we do that? Well, there is a principle so established. Take a note and do some homework. Again, you still have to come back and tell me what you found out about a document of 2002. You haven't spoken about it yet. I'll give you another one. The theory of the Constituent Assembly, Professor John Elster, and mind you, he's not the only one, but he's the world-leading professional on this. The Constituent Assembly. That is what it does. It brings the people together with elected representatives outside of the government, so that they, with their people, presentations of white papers, as they used to call it, I don't know if they still call it so, bringing in the views, those who cannot write will put it on record, those who wish to speak. In other words, you assemble the people in the various communities at that level, then at the parish level, and the people discuss the future, comparing it to what we have now. The questions are put before them. What is happening? How is it doing well for us? Yes or no? If it is not, then what do we do? Let the people decide. It is the people, the population, the collective that has to decide the future, not politicians. Involve the people. I trust you will do some research on the theory of the Constituent Assembly, and this would make the second homework you have, because I want to see change before that in this country. But you're all in lining up as you want to do it. But do enjoy yourself. Have a nice day. Thank you, sir. Have a good one, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day yourself. We do have another caller, which will be the caller that will wrap the calling segment. Caller via WhatsApp. You're live. Good morning.
Good day, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great. Let's hear from you, please.
All right. Bless up. All right. I want to congratulate Mr. Allie on the good work I'm seeing him doing. His word song, I think, is very promising. On the other hand, it's disheartening hearing some of these callers selective amnesia or selective memory, or the selection of empathy, not even sympathy in this promotions. I've seen so many things, I've heard so many things, like the evidence is there. It seems kind of, as I said, disheartening that a lot of attention is not paying to those. But I think it was a brilliant response to the gentleman's question. You do come from a brand name. You do step with a brand name, Mr. Diali, and more power to you on that, right? In terms of the reaching out to the youths, I do think there's a disconnect with the elder heads who has experience in terms of transferring information to the younger ones. There's a disconnect because more or less we send them old people to the homes rather than being in the homes with us. So that takes away from my exchange in our society, because if the elder heads learn from the younger ones, they get brisker. And if the younger ones learn from the elder heads, we get smarter. Yeah? So because of that disconnect, I think we're having a lot of issues in society. The value of I wouldn't say ranking, but just the value in people. We don't know there's a pecking order. And if we carry that with us as a people, I think we'll be stronger. The division is being too much. And we clearly see which administration is pushing the division. So I don't want to take up much time. I appreciate you guys for having me. But Mr. Diali, keep doing your thing. More power to you, yeah?
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Anything in terms of from the caller?
What that caller said speaks to me strongly. I do believe, like, mentorship has to be a new thing in that we really push as a country. Because I was telling someone the other day, I've been at some parties where I've listened to some businessmen and hearing their stories of struggle and how they got out of it. They after they paid their mortgage, only had about $10 in their account, and how they had to go back. They had to pay their employees and going home broke, and had to have the wife buy lunch for them. Hearing their struggle made me feel like the struggle is not so hard and like it's not so bad. If I could see them successful now, continue on. That mentorship and that kind of relay to other young people in society, both men and women, needs to happen. I have a strong mother too, and I think what she has gone through as a career woman, a mother, and a sister and a family member, I think she could do so much in terms of mentoring young women also. I think there's so much in our society. We have so much people who are in the retirement age or going to be retired soon, that we should have a program where we encourage these people to do some sort of civic duty, to go into secondary schools and be a part of a program and help guide some young people. Because I have seen it too, where we may see ourselves in the faces of a lot of new young people. Okay. And that way we can help bridge that in society and make us a more stronger, connected society. So I do believe that, Colin.
I have one more question, and before we take a wrap this morning. If you could leave the people of the South St. George with one message about hope and the future, what would it be?
I would tell them that despite of how anything may look right now, what is in front of us is way better than what's behind us. And what we are in the New National Party is looking at is tackling the problems head on. 10 toes on the ground. We're planning to go to the people and go to the communities all across this country and hear from them so that we can go from the bottom-up approach and create the type of manifesto that targets people in a real way, that help push them and build their livelihoods and their success for not just now, but for generations to come. That is what I am about. I agree. I stand on the backs of giants like Dr. Keith Mitchell and Clarence Modus and Butter Bowler and all these individuals who have done so much for our country over the years. But it is incumbent for my generation, for politicians like myself, the younger generation, to be a part of history in a way that we bring our ideas to the forefront and champion these things for the young people who are behind me, so that they have a stronger access to capital and movement and greater mobility. All these things needs to happen, and I plan to champion that as a member of the National Party, as hopefully the representative of South St. George, and as a Grenadian man who is trying to do the best for his country and would never leave the soil until I see that happen.
All right. Thank you so much. Of course, Allie, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today. It's always a pleasure as usual. Brother. It's always a pleasure as usual having you on the program. Hope we could do that of course soon again. Until then, have a good day for yourself. What's left of it.
Thank you, my brother.
Right. Hey folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank all who contributed towards today's program. The usual. Have a good one, folks, and goodbye.